tools that are used to reach certain decisions. And I've been successful as an appellate attorney doing that in front of Republican and Democratic justices. And so during the pandemic, when I was thinking about what do I want to do with my life and what do I stand for, I wanted to use my skills for public service. And that was the first time I thought, maybe I would like to be on the Michigan judiciary, and instead of fighting for my clients, which I love to do, I could use my skills for the people of Michigan. So last year, a position on the Court of Appeals opened. Even though Michigan Court of Appeals judges sit on cases all over Michigan, we're elected by district. So my election district is the 2nd district, which covers all of Oakland County, Macomb County, and Genesee County. So last year when an opening came up, I applied for it, and I had stiff competition. Most of the people who were also vying for the position were judges, and they were people who had that experience behind them. But like Kyra was talking about earlier, our lived experience matters. And sometimes it's not that whether you're a judge or not judge, it's what you're bringing to the table. So me, I brought almost 17 years of experience in appellate law to the table. I know how to write. I know how to dismantle opinions and put them back together. And I was able to get through the nomination process and was very honored when Governor Whitmer selected me for the position. So that's a little bit about me and why I became a judge. I want the principles of equity, that to know that when you're in front of court, you're not going to be there with somebody who has an agenda. I aim to be the type of judge that I always wanted to draw in private practice, which is one that doesn't have a finger on the scale. Okay. And so that is why I am on the Court of Appeals, why I made a 180-degree change in my life and am a judge today. And I have to fight for my seat because of the four Court of Appeals judges who were appointed by Governor Whitmer. I'm the only one who's facing a contested election. And it's contested because it's important. The seat that the judge who very tragically passed away was a very conservative, and I think that they don't want to see the balance on the court to change. And it's important for us to have voices of people who have different experience. I think I'm the only judge on the Court of Appeals who comes with a background in appellate experience. So we have people who've been judges, we've had people who sat on the district, probate, and circuit courts, but I'm the only one coming with a wealth of private practice experience from a plaintiff's personal injury and civil rights background. And that's not to say, like, one of the things that's really important on an appellate court, especially the Court of Appeals, is the ability to reach and work collaboratively with your colleagues. Because you sit in a bench of 3 people, and in order to get things done, you have to be able to communicate with your partners, you have to be able to change minds. And respect is so important in doing that, and I think that that's one of the strengths that I bring to the bench, because it's not about me, it's not about any grandiosity about being a Court of Appeals judge. It's about doing the work for the people of Michigan. And I am deeply committed to doing that, and that's why I'm fighting to retain my seat.
Yeah, there are some questions, Sarah?
Sorry, yes?
Judge Patel, how are the cases assigned to the 25 judges in the court?
So they are, they're done by blind draw. So I think that at the beginning of the year, there's a blind draw about who the panels are going to be, and we get when I joined the court, I got this printout of who I'm going to be sitting with for the rest of the year. And then the cases are also blind draw. That comes from our research division, and every month when the litigants are told who they're going to be arguing in front of that month, we the judges get the cases that we're going to be deciding that month.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
The other candidate in this race is Judge Michael Warren. Could you compare and contrast your judicial philosophy with his?
No. No. Talk to me afterwards.
Just your judicial philosophy. That's
So
all it
I-
is, just like, in the U.S. Supreme Court, it's just your philosophy, not
Well-
particular cases.
Corinne wants to do it.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I haven't been focusing on his judicial philosophy. I've been focusing on my own. I fought hard for this seat, and I got here because of the values that I bring to the table and the values and the skill that I bring to the table. So I'm happy to talk about my judicial philosophy, which is I think that everybody, no matter who you are, what your socioeconomic background is, what your racial background is, what your ethnic background is, that everybody deserves to have a fair day in court. I believe that everybody's issues are important issues. I believe in the Constitution that it needs to mean something other than words on a page. I'll give you an example. I've only been on the court for 4 months, but I recently issued a case that I'm very proud of. It's an unpublished opinion, so my name is not on it, but I was the author. And it dealt with Miranda rights and knowing involuntary statements that are given to a police. A woman had allegedly killed her boyfriend. There was a domestic violence situation. When the police got to the house, I think the boyfriend was deceased in the bedroom, and she had lacerations all over her arms and legs and needed to be transported to the hospital. She was taken to the hospital. She had to go through emergency surgery. She was given fentanyl and morphine and had all sorts of mind-altering drugs in her system. And then the next day, after 5 rounds of getting morphine injections, 2 police officers came into her hospital room. And then they proceeded to interrogate her for 2 hours. And the case got to our court, and the argument from the prosecution was that, well, it was voluntary because she never told the police officers to leave. And my position was, how could that be voluntary? She was literally on mind-altering drugs. The medical professionals said that she was not able to make clear decisions. She may not have been shackled to the bed, but she had IVs and was, medical apparatus that had her tied to the bed. So, it's a case that maybe isn't going to get to the Supreme Court, but for that woman, at least her constitutional rights are protected. And my being in the room, that's what I wanted to do. And over a dissent, there was another judge who did not agree with me, and she wrote a dissent as she's, that is her right to do. But I felt very strongly about this because, it has to mean something. A knowing and voluntary waiver has to mean something. Miranda rights have to mean something. And so that's what I bring to the table. That's my...
Thank you.
I'd just like to add, as a practicing trial lawyer, I've had the opportunity of being in front of her opponent, and I can tell you the significant difference is that he has no judicial temperament. He puts form over substance. If he finds a way that he can throw out a litigant, he will do so. He's been overturned. I've seen him throw out briefs because they used the wrong font. Didn't read it, didn't care. They used the wrong font, they're out. I get that that's important sometimes, but at trial level, county level, certainly it's not. So I can tell you that he's very difficult and he's very literal. If you will read the document for what it means, it does not care anything. The case, I'm sure if he had that case that you just described, he would say, well, she didn't say anything. It's literal interpretation of how it's applied. So that's just my experience.
Thank you.
And if I could just, I was actually on jury duty years ago for a case where he was the presiding judge, and the case itself was fine. It was fine. There's nothing notable about it. But I will note that when he was, some judges do this debriefing thing with the jury after it's over. I couldn't really talk about the case and that sort of thing, and I couldn't help but notice that he had a tremendous number of books that were out on display, pretty much all of which were extremely ultra-libertarian types of books. So I don't know what his political leanings are. All I know is that every one of the books that I saw was very, very right.
Well, thank you so much, Judge Singh. And I thought, let's bring you to our club so you can come talk to our folks. Isn't it great to be able to meet some of our judicial candidates? our agenda, and I apologize because we're running a little behind, is we need a very quick explanation on the 2 millage elections that are running. So will you speak first? Okay, Howard, go ahead.
Okay.
Howard's going to talk about this is Howard Barron, one of our longtime members, and our school board member in Bloomfield Hills, and he's going to talk about this election.
Yep, so I'm Howard Barron, I'm on the Bloomfield Hills School Board. In August 2nd, we're going to have a millage ballot initiative, and it's called the Bloomfield Hills Operating Millage Replacement Proposal. Now, there's a simple way to explain this, and there's a complicated way to explain this.
Simple.
I'm going to take the simple one. If you want to see the complicated one, you see me later. But, so if you're a homeowner, you don't pay this tax anyway. You just vote on it. If you actually do pay this tax and it passes, you'll pay the exact same tax as you were previously. And if it doesn't pass, it'll cost Bloomfield Hills schools over the next 3 years about $1.7 million of less revenue. So, with that, it won't affect any of you people that are the voters. It won't affect the taxpayers who currently are paying it. It doesn't increase their taxes whatsoever. But if it loses, we lose about $2 million of revenue. So, please vote yes, August 2nd. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So everybody, all our precinct delegates that have students that are in the Bloomfield Hills schools, that would be a millage that you would see on your ballot. Okay, go ahead.
I'm not an expert on the subject, but for those people who are in the Bloomfield Township, there'll be a second millage proposal on there. What they're doing is it's for public safety. There are currently 2 public safety millages that are going to be folded into one. It's a slight increase of 0.6 mils, so that's $60 per $1,000 of valuation. It's not a very big increase. Right now, I believe we have 22 fewer employees in public safety than we did at our high point. So that has come down over a period of time. It might restore, a couple of positions, but it's not a major change. It's basically a renewal of an existing village, and I would encourage support for it.
Okay, thank you.
Alan, could you answer one question?
You did hear me say I wasn't an expert on the subject, right?
Well,
Okay.
I'm going to
Go
ask
ahead.
in a little bit in the weeds, and if you say you don't know, unfortunately Martin's not here. Townships are limited to a 10 mil limit on their millages.
Right.
I thought that we were already, is this included in the 10 mil limit?
It is.
Because
Yeah,
we
so
are
I think
increasing.
We're still at 9 point something after this.
Okay,
after
so we're
this
still below the
millage.
10 mil limit.
We are,
Okay,
yes.
thank you.
Yeah, by law, because of the Headley Amendment, you can't go over that, so that is correct.
Okay, so anybody that would like to say something for good and welfare, if you raise your hand, we'll bring you on up. Go ahead, David.
Quick announcement. Hello, everybody. David Sanchez with the Michigan Democratic Party coordinating campaign, the coalition director. And first of all, I want to shout out to Shanae Whitaker for that. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for the work you do. I know it's not easy. Thank you for sharing your story. I know that's not easy either. We are at the coordinated campaign.
Why don't you come stand by the wall so people can see you?
This works.
Yeah.
Yeah. We are hosting this event, Reproductive Justice Forum. If you see a flyer, there's a flyer at that table, flyers at the table out there. The AG Dana Nessa will be a panel speaker. We are very excited about that. Also, the moderator, somebody I'm a very big fan of, is Danielle Atkinson, who is a founder of Mothering Justice. Look at the organization if you have not heard about it. She is also a Wayne State Board of Governors candidate, so a statewide candidate for Wayne State Board of Governors and Democratic Party elected. The same as the Supreme Court justices. You've heard from Kyra. It's a nonpartisan election for hers, but get to know Danielle Atkinson and the other Democratic endorsed Wayne State Board of Governor candidates. It's also very important. This will be Saturday from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. at UAW Local 600. That's near Southwest Detroit and Dearborn. And we're going to have some calls to action there. We have a wonderful panel discussion. And Shanae will be there as well, talking about the ballot initiative, talking about where they're at. And most people, just like us here, have signed already. So we'll be giving some ballot petitions out for folks to get filled out and to turn back in. So just scan the QR code, register, share the link with your friends and people you know are concerned about the issue. And we hope to see you there Saturday.
Thank you. Fred.
It's really quick, it's late. So I'm with My Right to Vote. We have two petitions. One of them was just spoken about by Governor Whitman in the Free Press 2 weeks ago. And she's talking about Secure My Vote. The headline: Initiative petition process to secure my vote. Anti-democratic and must change. What's she talking about? The fact that they can get 340,000 signatures, go to the legislature, which is Republican, and have that become law. The heck with the governor, no veto power, never goes to the ballot box. We have a petition called the Citizen Reform Initiative. What's it do for this? It says, if you get the 340,000 signatures, you go to the ballot box. 340,000 people cannot make law. We got 8 million registered Michigan voters. They make the law. So not 340,000. So it has to go, anybody that gets the signatures, that rule, that constitutional loophole, that dirty trick that we call it, eliminated. And another dirty trick you may know, they did the same thing with the minimum wage, right? Minimum wage, they accepted it, it became law, and then they trashed it. And that's why they had to come up with a new minimum wage. And finally, for appropriations, the legislature puts appropriations in a bill solely to prevent us from doing a referendum on it. They did that with the emergency manager law. They passed it, people had a referendum, got rid of it. They said, we don't care about that. We are going to do another statute. But we're going to put an appropriation in it. Now you guys can't vote on it, because we know you don't like it. So we're just going to purposely get rid of it. So
And I believe the appropriation was like $1, wasn't it?
no, it was like $5 million.
Oh, okay.
But still. So again, ours changes all that. We get rid of the loopholes and make them have to work as hard as we do to get on the ballot.
So sign Fred's petitions if you have not signed them yet.
What's the name?
Lisa?
What is that petition called?
A, the Board of State Canvassers, we submitted 2, Michigan My Right to Vote. They call them A and B. We call it the Citizen Reform Initiative. We call the other one the Fundamental Right to Vote. The key part of that is we're so tired of being reactive to what the Republicans are doing and saying, oh, how do we stop them from doing this? How do we stop them from doing that? We have language in the Fundamental Right to Vote petition that says, because the Supreme Court allows the legislature to restrict your voting rights if there's a potential for fraud, because the Constitution says they have the right to handle the purity of the election. So the Supreme Court in 2007 says, we defer to the legislature. If they see a potential for fraud, doesn't have to be actual fraud, we will defer to them. We'll allow restrictions on voting. Simply put, we say, heck no, if you're going to claim fraud, it's got to be substantial and credible evidence of fraud. That should just put an end to that, because you know as well as I do, in 62 cases, they couldn't come up with one fact. It should end all restricted voting.
Great,
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Okay, real quick, Good Time Initiative, that's actually my husband's organization, Michigan United. He wanted me to let you all know that they are working to get on the ballot in 2024, so they will be resuming collecting.
And we will support it.
Thank you.
Yeah, because we got a lot of signatures for that one.
Yeah.
And I personally feel like we were really educating people about what the issues are with prison issues.
So if you want to contact, that's Ken Whitaker, that's my husband.
Okay, great.
That's him.
Great. Lisa, did you want to say something?
The only thing is that tonight was literally the first time I heard of either of your petitions, and I'm very nervous that there's not enough time to get the signatures for the publicity. What can we do?
Yeah,
Because these 4 key.
we will probably end up doing what the minimum wage one is doing, which is, and I'm sorry, that's why I wanted to ask about Good Times, but we'll probably have to go into 2024.
Okay.
Because, I thought Good Times was done, but you actually are going to continue to get signatures through November. We have until November 7th to collect
For
signatures.
2024, that's what it said.
For 420, yeah. We have till November 7th of this year to get the signatures, the 425,000 signatures that we need in order to go on the 2024 ballot.
And that's the goal, right?
And that is the goal right now, because
Okay.
we,
So
yes.
that's good.
Because we don't have money, but we've got great ideas, we think.
And you said 25,000? It's not the 400?
No, it is
25.
25. Yes.
Shoot. Okay.
Yeah, I know, that'd
Gail?
be nice.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, Gail?
Is anyone going to be going to OCDP, the Oakland County Democratic Party office in the next few days?
Right, she left her thing here?
Vaccination card from Claudia.
From Claudia?
Oh.
Give it to me, I'll get it to her.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, anybody else? Okay, I just want to remind you, next Tuesday, the Youth Issues Forum for the Congressional District 12 at the Bloomfield Township Library. Not here, I think I hate sending people to the wrong place. Okay, at 6:30 socializing, 7 o'clock it starts. And then July 19th, we're going to be outside at the Beverly Hills Park, and we'll have all those speakers that I mentioned earlier, and you'll get them in an email. So if there's nothing else, we're going to call for adjournment, and thank you very much.